Hello, everyone. My name is Candy Martin, and I am here with my business partner and friend, Marlena Rose-Vigil. We are going to be talking today around a topic, how money works for women. And in that topic, we're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about credit. How about the 7 money milestones? We're going to talk about entrepreneurship. So this is really almost just a girl's talk. But guess what, guys? You don't have to click off. The information will be applicable in as well. All right. So before I start, I do want to share that Marlena has an event coming up that you can register for at no cost. She's going to be doing a webinar specifically for women, and it's called How Money Works for Women, and that will be held on September 17th at 11:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can register by texting the letters HMW, How Money Works, of course. So HMW to 303-564-3248, and you will receive the registration link back to you. So let's get into this. I'm going to talk a little bit about Marlena, and then we're going to get into this interview. So Marlena Rose-Vigil, she is stationed out of Denver, Colorado. She has been into the real estate industry for 30 plus years, and she's been helping her clients do more than just a transaction to buy a home. She has been helping them to improve their quality of life with home ownership, with credit education, and with financial education. And so she is well qualified, not just in her credentials, but in her heart for others. And so with that, we're going to get right into this interview, and I'm excited for this. So Marlena, we're going to be putting you in the hot seat today, and we're going to ask you some questions. I promise it's going to be painless, and to our listening and to our audience, we're going to be very authentic. This is totally unscripted, and we're not perfect. So just be prepared for the bloopers, for the technical difficulties, or anything else. And we're just going to have fun with this. We're just two friends that happen to be in business together, and we enjoy what we do, and we love our clients. And so this is going to be fun. Right. So this is one of my fun interviews. So Marlena, before I get started, do you want to say hello to the people?
No. Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be a part of this and be working with Candy. We have been friends for a long time, and it's just a joy. It's just a joy to know that we're able to help people. We just love what we do.
All right. So let's get into this. I have a list of questions, and then of course, there's going to be some that just come out of that. So one of my questions, Marlena, because you've been in the real estate industry for 30 plus years, and I know that when I'm dealing with clients, most of them get serious when they want to buy a house. Let's just keep it real.
That's right.
Like, we need to save, we need to do this, and they're like, wow, wow, wow. But when they're ready to buy a house, they're like all in. So what are some of the things that would prevent someone from being approved for a home?
Well, the biggest thing is what's on their credit report, and their credit scores. That is probably the main reason that people come to me, because they know that I help people get qualified for their homes and teach them some credit education, teach them just some basic rules, I'll say, of the game of how to handle the credit. My clients can save anywhere from $200 to $500 just a month, just by using just a couple of I'm going to say tricks, but kind of rules on how to handle credit properly and how to create good, strong credit.
Okay, awesome. All right. So the next question is, when have you? I saw this article, which I was kind of on the fence because it had some really good points. When it is or not a good time to buy. So, for example, they were saying one of the things to why you wouldn't buy a home is because you don't have to worry about maintenance, lawn care, and things of that nature. And so they made a really good argument. But then on the other side is no, you want to buy the home because then you have that as an investment, you have that into your real estate portfolio, you have something that you can pass down. So what is your take on that? Should people buy or should people rent? What is your take?
Well, when they can get when we can get them qualified, absolutely, I believe in buying that property because it's yours. You're not paying somebody else's mortgage with your monthly rent, and you're not susceptible to if they sell or don't sell, if they fix something or don't fix something. This is your property. There are tax advantages to that. There is a pride of ownership. There is this belongs to me. I mean, it is just so genuinely outstanding to have, especially first-time home buyers, to walk into their house after we've closed and go, oh my God, this belongs to me. This belongs to us. This is where we raise our family. It becomes an emotional attachment. Rentals become an investment attachment, my opinion. And so anything that's possible and any kind of research, anything that can be done to help somebody get into a home affordably, absolutely buy.
All right, all right. So we got the opinion of the expert. We see. All right, and now I'm going to ask this question, and I kind of want the short answer only because I'm going to come back to this later on. I just got to remember to come back. Let me write that down. Okay. All
The
right.
list.
Yeah,
Just
I'm
got
making.
the list going.
Women love lists. Okay, I don't know about the guys, but women we love lists. We
I
go
love lists.
with the
I
list.
love lists.
Even though we might not stick to the list, we just need to know that we got the list.
Well, and making a list and handing it to the guy.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
works well
yeah.
too.
That works well too. That's right. Okay, I wrote down my question so I wouldn't forget it. But real estate, so realtors, I was just at a training earlier this week, a financial training off in Atlanta, and someone in, I don't know what the question or what the original question was, but I remembered her answer. And it was around the fact that realtors, just a few years back, would possibly sell 10 houses in a year. And she said, but now I'm seeing if they sold 3 houses, it's amazing.
Right.
So have you seen the decline on realtors' activity going from like 10 houses a year to now maybe 1 to 3 a year?
Well, yes, absolutely.
Now, not
It has
you, because
become
I know you're the expert and you're just rolling them out. But we're just
it's
talking
become
about your average realtor.
yeah, average realtor, because there's always the two ends of that whole
Yeah.
spectrum. Um, but yes, and it's not so much that the realtors aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, but the market has been in all different kinds of changes, things that we have never ever seen before. A couple of years ago, when interest rates were down to 2 and 3 points and everybody was going crazy, and the buyers were like coming out of the walls for putting offers on houses. I mean, we're talking 10, 15 offers and outbidding other people and trying to use a strategy to be able for this seller to really to choose theirs, choose mine. People got themselves in some situations monetarily in that they would overbid, and there's a place called that overbidding and the amount that the house is going to appraise for called a gap.
Oh, wow.
So if you were to bid $150,000 for a house, and the house came in at, as far as the appraisal is concerned, but came in at $100,000, as the buyer, you're responsible because you made the offer. You're responsible for that $50,000, and it had to be cash. It wasn't a financial thing.
Wow.
You couldn't get a loan for it. It was money you have to come up with to fill that gap between the appraisal and how much you bid for the house. That was, oh my, blew people out of the water, and they're still trying to live with that situation.
Wow.
Um, and then there's the market now, and the market is there is lots of everybody's wanting to sell houses, The buyers, for whatever reason, are deciding, I don't know, they're unsure. They're not sure about their jobs. The rate isn't so bad, it's 6.5, 6.8. And over the course of the whole time that that interest rates on houses have been watched and made statistically, right?
Right.
Average 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 interest for a home is at 7%. So we're not out of we're not out of it. People have in their heads that they want the 2 and 3, but that had never happened before, ever, in
Wow.
all of real estate history, however far back that goes. It's still doable. It's still right here. So it depends on the time of year. It depends on where people are financially. It depends on what the sellers are doing and where the market, how the market is flowing. All of those factor in along with our own personal information to get qualified for the house.
Wow. 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 That gap, that just kind of just standing out in my head about that the gap on, we're not talking about a $5,000 gap. It can just really
We're
get
talking big. And as a realtor and trying to navigate and trying to be strategic about it for your client, and yet not making sure that you're not helping them get into a hole that they're going to have to deal with financially. I
wow.
don't want to do that. I want to make I don't want them to be home to have a home that's over their heads and they're in affordably and they're going to lose it, or that's going to be so difficult to try to make that payment every month that
Right.
I don't want to do that. That's not helping my client.
So it sounds like you're not just trying to sell them a house. You want to sell them a home, somewhere where they can go in and be at peace and knowing that they can afford it. So even if
That's right.
might not be the 5 bedroom, 3 bathroom, it may be the 2 bedroom, 1 bath, but it's a clean, beautiful place and it's going to be a home. And then eventually you work with them, or that can turn into what's called an investment property. So you're thinking long term for your client. And
That's
so
right.
hopefully realtors out there that you're taking notes from Marlena. She's been in the industry 30 plus years. And so she's had some success, and I'm sure she's seen some stuff. And I know she could tell us plenty of stories. And so kind of in that same vein where you said that people kind of got overextended and they're having credit issues now. So let's kind of shift into the credit world. Um,
Okay.
and let me put this disclaimer out here. Hey, folks, before you go and make any life-changing decision based on this conversation that two friends are having, sit down with your financial professional to make sure that like if you hear something that's a great idea, run it by your financial professional first before you make the changes, because we're not talking specifically about your situation, which we're well qualified to do that. However, this is a general overview conversation that we're having. So we do advise you, don't wing it, get with a financial professional. And I happen to know a couple. So,
Make a plan.
yeah,
Get help with a plan.
we have to come up with a plan. Um, so credit, uh, um, I know you and I both know how we feel about the game of credit, and we have our reasons as to why we're advocating for clients when it comes to credit. But
Absolutely.
you and I met in 2011 because we were in a mutual, we were credit educators, and we used a mutual platform, and we went to a convention, and at the convention we met each other at baggage claim. We didn't know we were going to the same place, and then we ended up in the same car pickup, and we were like, hey, and then we just kind of were stuck
We
together.
connected. We
Yeah,
just connected, and it's been that way for the
yeah,
almost
yeah,
what, 20, no, 15 years?
yeah. So from 2011 to now, and
Yeah.
we used to kind of stay in touch, and then we kind of got busy, and then we would reconnect, and then we get busy, and then we reconnect. But the last 18 months or so, we've been kind of glued at the hip. So um, I'm
Which is okay by me.
fine by me. Y'all, Marlena is one of the sweetest persons. Y'all, you know what? Do you got Kleenex, Marlena? Because I know at some point you're gonna
I got Kleenex.
you got Kleenex. Okay, gotta always make sure Marlena has Kleenex. All right. So credit. What? So I'm just gonna ask you a couple of random questions, maybe like three questions or so. And I advise anyone that if you are needing credit education, reach out to Marlena. I'll have her information at the end. She is definitely one of the best in that industry as well. And what separates her from others is she first put you first, so that's like,
Right.
she's not just trying to, move the needle. She is really trying to make sure that you understand, because what she don't want is for you to get your credit restored and then you don't understand and then you go and mess it all up again. It's kind of like waste of money, waste of time. So credit, what is when someone comes to you and say, "Oh my God, my credit is all messed up," and they just crying and screaming, and they say, "Can you help me?" And you say, "Yes, I can help you." What is the first thing that they should do in order for you to be able to help them, or just for anyone to be able to help them?
Well, research, find somebody that, as you said, has the history, has the background, can answer your questions that you feel comfortable with as far as a professional to help them along through, whether it's real estate, credit, finances, whatever it is. Find that person that you trust. Um, they're not perfect, but follow your intuition when you're talking with someone, and you should be interviewing them because they're going to be working for you. And what about this? And what about this situation? And how do I feel about this person? Do I like them? Do I think I can work with them? Are they listening to what I'm saying? Are they having transparent conversations with whether it's buying a house or fixing my credit? Making money work? How do I feel with that person? That, to me, is the main issue, is find that professional. And when it comes to credit, we're going to start with, there's certain things, certain pieces that we need to know, not just, oh, I've got this credit score or I've got this on my credit report, but we need to know some financial pieces that help us get to understand how those items showed up, and maybe it's working against us. No, is working against us because we're trying to qualify, right? So first of all, we're going to talk. We're going to have a heart-to-heart talk. We're going to take a look at finances. We're going to do a financial assessment that is complimentary. We want to look to see exactly what's going out, what's coming in, what we can look at to be real about your buying a house and when. The secondary piece of that has to do with the credit piece, because credit is the biggest factor to getting that house. And people think, oh my God, my credit score is so bad. My credit score is, it's a 500 and I got this and I got that. And once we listen to all of that, because there are always solutions, it's just, are you willing to take care of the solutions? Are you wishing we'll work together? I'll be right here with you to do it. Because I want you all to look at your fingertips right here, right there. You can get right there. You can get a home loan with a 620 score. Now, that's all fine and good, but it's not the best rate. It's not going to be the best kind of loan that you can possibly get. It's going to have some deals, some things in it, some terms in it that you're going to have to put up with. When this 700 score, the lenders roll out a red carpet when you walk in there with a 700 score, and that 700 score is right here at the tip of your fingers. It's a process. It's not a flip the switch, fix it. But once you've gotten and you walk through those steps, you're going to know how to do that for the rest of your life. And your kids are going to learn how to do that. And we talk about generational legacy. Knowledge, your knowledge that you pass on to your kids is part of that generational legacy. It's your home, it's how you got it, it's what you did, it's what you understand, it's what you can share, it's money, it's all of that you offer your children. The love, the support, it's all of that. And part of this is so important that we as adults learn this information, Just little pieces. We don't have to know the whole dang gambit about how this credit system works and who's doing what. Just the ones that apply to us. If you were to sit down to play Monopoly with your kids and nobody read the rules, right?
Right.
Nobody would know that every time you passed, maybe. Nobody would know that every time you passed go, you got $200. Nobody would know that you were able to buy properties, or that you could put hotels on those properties, or you could get rent from those hotels on that. You wouldn't know that. You need to know the rules of the game.
Hey,
And
and fam,
once,
you know, especially in our culture, we need to read the rules to the game, because if we be trying to make up our own rules, and
ain't happening.
yeah, and then it becomes all fallout because nobody read the rules. I read the rules because I'm always like, nope, we're not doing that. That's man-made. So like, they be mad at me like, this is not business. You should just be playing. I'm not winging it. Even when it comes to Monopoly, I'm not winging it. So when it
That's
comes
right.
to a more serious matter, we seriously shouldn't be winging it. So make sure that you're talking, like Marlena say, someone that you trust, someone that you don't mind. Because you gotta be open and transparent, or it's not, something's gonna get left out that could come back later and ruin the whole plan. So when you're talking to your financial educator, you need to be very transparent. And, I'm not saying, something personal. I'm talking about your finances, your home buying experience, your credit report. What
Your goals,
yeah,
your
it's going to
wants.
get into your behavior, your relationship with money. If you were going to a weight loss specialist, they're going to want to know not just what you eat and and how many calories. They're going to want to also know your eating habits. So it's the same way here. What is your relationship with money? When you get upset, do you go on a shopping spree? Do you max out the credit card? What happens? How they say when you and your husband fall out, women, we just go and max out the credit cards. Okay, no, don't do that. So one of the things you mentioned,
Don't do that.
and these questions are going to be kind of random, but kind of together. You said when you're teaching your kids about finances and you're playing Monopoly and all those things, and you want to, have talk with the kids at the kitchen table. What happens when they want you to co-sign, when your adult kids want you to co-sign for them? Marlena, what's your advice to to parents with older kids, and they say, Mom, I just want to get this car and I need you to co-sign for me. What do we do?
Um, just off the cuff. No.
So no co-signing. Look, that was like,
No cosign. And I know we love our kids. I know we want to help. I know. But
we do.
better, better, better to get with a financial advisor or a person you trust, just like we're talking about, and have them research, have that friend, that child, have them do research about how they're going to make payments and how they are going to be able to qualify for this themselves. By doing that, you're giving them a sense of making the effort, and you're giving them a sense of accomplishment once they've made that effort. And when it comes to the credit whole piece of it, that anything goes on, anything goes on in that loan with a cosigner, if they lose their jobs, and I'm not saying they do it on purpose, but if they lose their jobs, they get sick, something happens and they can't make their payments, those payments fall directly on you. Anything that goes on that loan, on the credit side of it, it all goes on your credit report as well as the individual's credit report. And that could be a disaster to you because you don't have control. And I don't mean you need to have control as a parent. I mean you need to have control with what's happening to your paperwork. You need to know how devastating that could be or how wonderful that could be if everything works well.
Wow.
But there's always those what ifs, someone just can't make that payment for whatever reason, and that's going to be your hardship as well as theirs.
Wow. Wow.
No.
So no, the short
No.
answer is no.
Get them and get yourself some education
Good.
about that whole situation.
And look, we have this book, Parents. that either Marlena or I just, well, reach out to Marlena. So, and we'll work together to get you this, or if you reach out to me, however, whatever, who's ever watching, just reach out to us and we'll get you this book. Lauren Matthew Ferry and Krista Matthews have this book, and it says, I don't know how good this is showing up, How Money Works for the Next Generation. Generally, typically ages 18 to 35, 18 to 40-ish. Act now or pay later. And we want our adult children to act now so that they don't have to pay later, and so that we as parents don't have to pay later.
Don't
So,
have to pay later.
and we'll get you this book. Ask us how you can get a complimentary copy, and we'll get it out to you. And it has one of the topics that we're going to talk about before long, the 7 money milestones. So as you can see back here in the background. So yeah, so parents, this will help you say no. Okay. All right. So my last credit question, which is and it's not the end of the conversation, but the last credit question per se. The things that are on our credit reports, if they are erroneous, is it the law, that the credit bureaus put that on there, and so we're kind of just stuck with it?
No.
I'm saying no. I just
Another
said
no.
no.
There's another no, you're not stuck with it. They want you to think you're stuck with it. You are not stuck with it. Let me go back for just a minute, is that we didn't learn these things in school. I didn't learn. I'm going to say I didn't learn these things in school.
I didn't.
I didn't. Nobody talked anything about money. I mean, I got out of school and didn't know how to write a check. And if you don't know what a check is, well, then you don't need to know what a check is and how to balance a checkbook and do all that stuff.
No, we're telling
But
that news. Yeah.
but this information wasn't taught. And if our parents, this all happened during the time of my parents growing up, this credit stuff. And they grew up in a cash life. And that's what they taught. That's what my parents, my family taught me. If you want something, go out and work for it. Go pick up bottles, go do whatever, go cut lawns, go baby, go make the money, save for it, and then go buy it. There wasn't credit. There wasn't credit cards. That wasn't, women couldn't even have a credit card until 1972 without their husbands being on it and okaying it. Oh my gosh. So this information got right past me. I'm going to talk about me, got right past me about credit, about money, about all of this stuff. It got right past me. And you're right. I was winging it. Became a single mom, and I was winging it and didn't have a plan, but didn't even know that there was a plan to have. I was just trying to make the ends meet, you know. My kids played soccer and football and did all this stuff, but we went to the secondhand store. In Spanish we call it the segunda, and that's where we bought their shoes. That's where we bought their cleats. There was no money to go and buy brand new cleats. Oh my God, these kids don't even use them for a year because they grew out of them. So they were pretty brand new cleats, and but we had to make ends meet, and we had to find ways to do it. And there wasn't a credit card to go put it on. Then shows up this credit system, and nobody really understands how it works. And they're sitting at schools, colleges, passing out credit cards, and they get, oh wow, okay, let's go. Nobody teaches you how to use it. Nobody teaches it how to make it work for you. Bottom line, how do we make this credit system work for us? How do we make our money work for us instead of us always being behind an 8-ball when it comes to this, to our money and to our credit? So I went through there and then I completely forgot what you just asked me.
But they have to stay on our credit report.
Oh.
We done messed it up, or it could be erroneous, or it could be something that we did in error because we didn't know, not on purpose, but like, hey, we overextended.
Well,
they didn't
pay it off. Once something gets on your credit report, you're responsible for it, whether you did it or not. And you have to figure out a way how to handle that. You don't have to live with it. There is a 7 to 10 year span that the credit agency agents say that items have to stay, negative items have to stay on your credit report. Not to my knowledge, is there a law that says that anything has to stay on your credit report for 24 hours, anything negative has to stay on your credit report for 24 hours, much less 7 to 10 years.
But aren't credit agencies, aren't those bureaus aren't those laws?
Oh, they're law abiding. But let me tell you the loophole is that the credit agency's clients are not you and I. Their clients are the creditors that are using the credit agency's reports and FICO scores to judge us whether that creditor is going to give us a loan, credit cards, something that qualify for a house, something that we want and we need and we can afford, but on a payment plan, right? The longer the credit agencies can keep something, or they say they can keep something on your credit report that's negative, the longer those creditors can use that information against you. And they sell those credit reports to whomever will pay for them. So if we think that our personal information, especially our social security numbers, are so tight and so precious, they are. But these credit agencies will sell that information to whomever will pay for it. Now, we're the commodity. Our information is the commodity that creates that report, their product. So back in the early 70s, government is going, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. I don't know who in government said that, but somebody said it because there was a major law passed called the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And that Fair Credit Reporting Act is a consumer protection federal law that protects us from things that don't get done, or things that get done kind of sort of as far as those credit agencies are concerned with our credit. I didn't know that law was there. I had at some point in time, I had never learned that that law was there, but there's a mandated process how somebody can legally put something on our credit report. And anybody who's got your social security number can put something on your credit report. They can make it up and put it on your credit report. And if you don't know that there's a law to protect you, you're going to sit there and think that you have to live with all of that.
Wow.
And it's not true.
Wow. I know we've heard some horror stories over the years. And people that are juniors and seniors, they're getting the fun stuff on the senior credit report. I've seen where people open up credit cards in other people's name. I had a client once whose mother-in-law actually put a whole vehicle in his name. I was like, what? And
Horrible.
because that she had a relationship with somebody at the dealership that knew her and just took her at her word, because
That's it.
we just backtracked this, and then we finally figure out, like, he was like, how you get a whole car in your name, dude? Nobody's just gonna give you a car. And then we found out that it was the mother-in-law that put the car in his because he was like, hey, I don't have that car. I don't have a car. I'm like, yes, you do. You got one right here on your credit report. So it's so important to get a copy of your credit report, and so many other things that you can do. So if you're having credit challenges, or if you just want a credit checkup, I mean, you just want to double check something, reach out to Marlena. She can definitely assist you. Or if not Marlena, reach out to somebody. Take care of it. We just want to see you fit and financially fit and financially well, whether it's with us or without us. We just want to give you some tools and some resources
That's
on
right.
questions to ask. All right.
I
So
had a
I'm sorry.
let me tell you this one story. After one of my classes, a couple of days later, a mom gave me a call, and she said, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I took your class because it started making my brain start moving." And they had received a notice that her 12-year-old daughter owned a house in Iowa.
Oh
They
wow.
live here in Denver, never been in Iowa, but somebody had used fraud, and you had that 12-year-old social security number.
Crazy.
And however that all happened paper-wise there, who knows, but her daughter was entitled to and on a mortgage to a house.
Oh, wow, very interesting. Ooh, I know we got some stories we could tell. All right, so in our next to last topic, we're going to talk about the 7 money milestones. You and I have been in the financial spaces. For you, 30 plus years. For me, about 27 years or so. We've been in these financial spaces just trying to help clients. And prior to meeting, at different stages at different times. And prior to us, me and you both, coming into the how money works world through Wealth Wave, we were just, in a sense, not winging it. We had systems in place, but there was always something missing. Like you was helping with the credit and real estate, I was helping with the taxes and with the business advising. And we were always like, hey, there's some more things a client needs. And just because of who we would go out and find, like, if, credit wasn't my area, but I was like, oh, let me go find this credit piece. Let me go do some research. So we were trying to pull everything together so that we can holistically take care of the client and not just fix the one problem. Put the tax
That's right.
file out, or you were putting the house file out, but there were other things that the client needed. And so we were just doing it out the kindness of our heart. And we both came into, that's another meeting, how we got connected and all that. But we are so thankful for our Wealthway family, and we're able to use the 7 money milestones through the education of financial education through how money works. And so through that, so we'll just kind of pick a couple of the 7 money milestones, and then we'll get into our last piece. So the very first one I want to ask, I'm kind of looking at the list, y'all see me, I'm looking at the list. I don't have my
Where's your glasses?
we be cute. We want to be cute. So anyway, the first one is financial education. For you, coming from your industry, your perspective, being a woman, being Latina and Native, being in Colorado where it's cold, being a boy mom, married, like all the different things that are a part of you, including being a realtor, a credit education specialist, and a financial educator. Why is financial education so important, to no matter who you are?
Well, I'll tell you about my experience is that when I got divorced from my first husband, he had taken care of all of the finances, and I was in my 20s and I just kind of let him do it. He ran a business. He figured he knew what he was doing. At one point in time, he told me I was too stupid to help him within the business because I said, oh, teach me how to do payroll. I can help you with that. No, you're not smart enough. You don't know anything about math. Well, and I listened and I didn't believe, and I knew that, and I had I worked, I had my babies, I worked, and my money went into a joint account. His money went into a joint account, and I knew that all of the bills got paid and everything got done, and I could use the money there was money we could use. He had some savings. He had things moving like it going, and so I just kind of let him do it. Well, then we got divorced, and along came and something in the mail because we had to close our accounts and settle up. But something came. It was an ATM card. I didn't know what an ATM was. I never had a credit card. I didn't know what an ATM was. But they showed me that I could go and I could get, if I needed $20 and kids go to McDonald's or needed something, I could go to that machine and get $20 out of there. Now I know this sounds stupid, but it was not because I lacked intelligence. It was because I lacked knowledge. And at the end of the month, I got a bill for $423. That's how much I used that dang card. And I went, oh my God, what is this? I went to the bank. I sat down with one of the bankers and I talked to him about it. And he explained to me how this all happens and works. And I came out and I sat in my car, and the way he spoke to me, how he dismissed me, how he was talking to a 5-year-old as opposed to quote unquote a grown woman, and explaining this, I sat and cried. And I thought in my head, I'm never going to be in that kind of situation again. Oh my God. He didn't even know who I am. He doesn't know the situation. He doesn't, and he didn't care. This is the way it is, lady. Too bad.
Wow.
So when we talk about that, it's really, really in the deepest soul and embedded in that memory of mine for us to have, especially women, have that education, have access to that education, have access to understanding, have access to somebody that they can talk to and ask, have access on their own, not separate from their partner or their husband or their families, but in addition, but have access on their own to this information and for them to learn. It's really to learn the rules of the system in order to be a part of it, in order to see how it really works is the most important part of in my as a woman's financial life. You have to know how this all happens and where you don't have to know the whole 9 yards of the 1% in the country and how this all how economics. You don't have to go to an economic class. You just have to know how it relates to you and your family.
Yep. How your money works. That's right. You need to
How
know.
your money works.
You need to
You know,
know.
we can talk. One thing that a stat that has to do with how women understand how money works is that women one of the stats it's in I believe it's in our how money works for women book is that women go to work, they have
Mhm.
children, but they work. You need 2 jobs to be able to afford things now. But
Mhm.
the woman is called back out of her career because she has a family,
Mhm.
because she has to help elderly parents, because whatever the situation, the husband doesn't, or the man or the other partner doesn't necessarily leave their jobs to be able to take care of this piece of your lives. The
Mhm.
woman steps out to do that. And that over the course of a lifetime of career, a woman can lose almost $400,000.
Mhm.
That is money that could go towards retirement, that could go to future plans, that could go to plans that her and her partner or her family have, because she has had to step away. She doesn't have a retirement plan. She didn't make that money during that time. And we're still paid 83 cents to the dollar than what a man is paid.
Yep.
I'll be danged.
Yep.
I will be danged.
And
This is not okay.
it is not okay. And Marlena is going to break all of that down on September 17th in her How Money Works for Women presentation. So make sure that you sign up for that, which we're going to share information at the end on how to register for no cost, how to get on that webinar. And she's going to go through that entire presentation of why we're earning 82%, 82 cents for every dollar that a man earns, and why when we die, we normally when our spouses die, we're normally left holding the bag and things like that, and how to prevent those things. And so what about long-term care and all those things? She's going to go through that on the 17th. And so in our last part that we're going to talk about on today, which I'm enjoying, I mean, it's like listening to Marlena is like life lessons. You know, even though we're talking financial industry, technical things, rules and systems and all that, intertwined, we're talking about life lessons. And so, even though Marlena and I are friends, I admire your wisdom. So I'm listening. I'm taking notes. So let's get into entrepreneurship. Now, to be honest, back in the day, entrepreneurship wasn't even a word. And if it was a word, I didn't know it existed. So, owning a business, I knew business
How
owners.
do you spell it? Oh,
Yeah, like I still have the little red line. Sometimes when I type the word
me too.
entrepreneurship, it turns red.
I know.
I got the E
I
or the,
know.
oh yeah, I'm still trying to learn how to spell it. Um, yeah. So entrepreneurship, owning your own business. You had mentioned earlier, like your ex-husband had owned a business at the time, and you wanted to help and you wanted to participate, and he was like, "Oh no, this is for the super smart people, not you." And so entrepreneurship, some people feel like, oh, it's for other people, not for me. I work at this retail store. I've never owned a business. That's not for me. That's for those people over there. What would be your take if when we do the financial assessment with someone, and one of the money milestones, as you can see, is cash flow, and they're coming up short and they just need to do something a little extra, but they can't add more hours to the day because we all got 24 hours and that's it. But there are some things that they could do on the side, like they call gigs or side work, or we used to say back in the day, a little hustle that we had, while we did work our 9 to 5. And you run across somebody and they're just not quite making enough money for whatever reason, and you say, hey, you need to own your own business. What do you say to the mindset of someone who were told that they couldn't start a business, or because they were a woman, or because they were too tall or too short, whatever the reason was that they couldn't own a business, or if they just didn't realize that they could? What is your advice to them?
I remember being in a jobs, and I had some good jobs. I had some great jobs. But almost every day I would look out the window of my office and say, ah, there's gotta be something else. There's gotta be something more. God, something, something more than coming to the same place every day, doing the stuff. I mean, I like what I do. And I remember my mom, she told me this was her advice to me: go to school, get a government job, retire at 65. That was it. I'm like, that's what she was taught. That's what she knew. That's what she lived. That didn't sound too appealing to me. So when it came to a time, and I always had a second job. I mean, I worked for caterers, so my mom would take care of the kids, and I would go out in the evening and work for a caterer, and that was all fun and good. But geez, it's so exhausting having to keep all these balls in the air. And when I was able to find I don't want to call it a situation, but a um a business, something that flowed into what I was doing. I wasn't out um at another job. I wasn't out selling vitamins, and there's nothing wrong with selling vitamins. That just wasn't
Vitamins,
in
wash,
my
lotion,
wash it, mascara,
potion.
whatever. I wasn't in that. And I mean, there's plenty of I mean, people do this all the time, and it's a good thing. I buy my stuff from local small businesses as opposed to big companies who do all of that. But when I got my real estate license, oh my God, oh my God, this is something I can do, I think. I want to do it. And then it led into the credit because I need to help people. Our clients are going down the tubes at some back in 2006, 2008 are going down their tubes. And I asked God again, I said, there's got to be something to help them. And I found credit education, and I learned, and I got myself certified, and I was able to help people with that info. And I love, maybe overly love, to help people move through this process. And then came along learning about how to make my money work for me. Too much time has passed in my life that I didn't know that information. And I've lost that time for changing this $10 into $20 in certain ways that I have opportunities. I didn't realize I had an opportunity. But oh, now that I know, I can take some action for my husband and I and our families. I can help other women and other people understand, younger generation understand how to create this money building situation, how to take that $10, $20, $100 and make it work for them. I am passionate that women understand this isn't this isn't just another job.
Right.
This is a passion. This is a reality. This is access. Oh, that word just gives me goosebumps because I now am able to give access to other people so they have an opportunity to create maybe their own businesses. Maybe it's a part-time thing. Maybe it's a full-blown, oh my God, what can I do with this? And that's at the point that I am at, that you're at, that we're at. And I want to pass it on. I just don't want to sit here with it. I don't want to sit here going, oh, look at me. Don't I great? This is pretty fun. And no, I want you to know, and I want you to know, and I want you to know. I want y'all to know. What you do with it then is your choice. But I want to be the one to be able to help you understand.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So just take the chance. Just take the leap. If your cash needs some flowing, or
Ask questions.
ask questions, and then you can determine if this is something for you. But you can, by all accounts, you can do this. And so we learned through Marlena's testimony that you can step out and start your own business. Whether it's, great and glamorous, or if it's messy and ugly, whatever, however you got to get started, take the leap, take the chance, ask the questions, and just try it out. I mean, you can't even fail if you don't try. So,
That's right.
like
That's a great point. You
yeah,
can't fail if
yeah,
you don't try.
yeah. And failing it's just life lessons. It's just learn. My grandmother used to say a bought lesson is a learned lesson. I mean, when you go through this, don't worry, you'll never come back here again. You will remember.
That's right.
You will remember this.
That's like I remember that banker that day and how he talked to me. It's like, no, I gotta something. I gotta find research, find somebody who knows, have conversations. Women don't talk about money in general, unless you're in a small little one-on-one with one-on-ones or with friends. They don't talk or have the opportunity to talk about money. Well, let's create that.
Yeah,
Let's
we
create
are
that
creating
space.
that on September 17th. Remember, we're creating a space. So, and so we're as we wrap up today, as we get ready to wrap up, because Marlena and I, we can just go and go and go and go. Promise you, we really can. Um, and I love a lot of the things that you said. That even though we as women, we're motivating other women, we do not exclude men, we do not male bash,
Right.
but we do what's called empowerment and encouragement to women, because it's obvious we are women. And so even though money is money and it's the same for everybody, no matter what, women do have different situations that we go through. And so that's some of the things that we're going to talk about on the 17th. Like, what are the differences? How did I come up with making 400,000 less dollars? What are some of those things? What do they look like? And so we're gonna get into that on the 17th. We're gonna also talk about cash flow, having an opportunity to maybe consider being a financial educator. Take a look at it, and see if you're passionate or if you've been a victim of financial abuse and you know how that felt. Wouldn't it be a great thing if you can help somebody else out of that? And so we have some
Exactly.
resources that you could aid and not help just yourself, but you could actually help someone else. And you don't have to be perfect to do this. I know a lot of times people say, well, when I get $1 million, I'll think about being a financial. Okay, well, we do this, we do it, messy, perfect, we just kind of bring our personality into it. But we're here to say entrepreneurship can be for you. It is, I tell people, so, oh, it's not glamorous, it's not an overnight success, but neither is working on a job 40 years. That's not glamorous.
That's right.
So
Neither is losing $400,000 in your whole
yeah,
career life.
yeah.
That's not glamorous.
Now we're not saying go out here and quit your job, because the job does have a lot of
That's
great,
right.
it does offer stability. It had, well, until they decide to shut the plant down and you just fire it. But in most cases, it provides stability. It provides engagement with other people. It provides
It
money.
lets you it lets you get out of the house.
Yes, yes. It provides money. You can use your money to save money, to fund your business, to get your business off the ground. So we're not saying, but if you should say, you know what, I'm not coming back to this place, I hate this place, then we do have a solution for you. Or if you say, hey, I just want to build something of my own so I can pass it down, whatever the case may be, entrepreneurship can be for you. Whether it's this industry or another industry, if you love doing hair, I mean, that's like whatever it is that it is. We just so happen to be in a fortunate position to be able to offer an opportunity to others. And so
And
entrepreneurs.
something else too is that situations are changing, things are changing within our society, and and people aren't living through, they aren't going to a job for 30 years. They're having to move from job to job, or they have been laid off, or the way businesses, big businesses work isn't the same. They don't have a place for you to go every day, right? They don't have offices. That whole layout is changing. And maybe there's spaces there that thinking about having your own business as a woman, as a man, but as a woman, and how that feels to accomplish that, and what that means to you personally means to your family to accomplish that, and your children. There's that legacy. There's that generational legacy. There it is. Then we have had plenty of ladies in our history and in our ancestors, in the world we know, who have taken this step, and however it looked, to be able to help their families move forward.
Yes,
Maybe
yes.
that's something you want to do too.
It's such a rewarding work. It's rewarding. So Marlena, invite everyone to your event. Tell us about your event.
Okay, so we're going to talk about how money works for women. Do something about it or lose it. So, this is a webinar. This is a webinar that's going to give you information about the truth, numbers, and feelings and situations that women go through within their lives. And we're going to talk about women from the age of 19 to the age of 81, so that it's not spotlighted on any particular age group. It happens to all of us. And we can all understand and learn something and use it for our good. Pass it along. Talk to friends. Invite friends. Invite family members. Everybody listens to the same thing, and we all pick out different pieces. Let's talk. Let's talk about money. And I'm talking real life. I ain't talking about some presentation and trying to sell you something. Just have a conversation. And just know that you got somebody to always go to have access, to ask a question, to see what this means, to see what that means. How can I always have somebody to be able to do that with?
All right. And when is it, Marlena? When are we doing it?
It is September 17th. September 17th. We're going to do it at 11:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So you need to adjust if you're in a different time zone. You need to adjust the beginning time according to your time zone. If you want to register, text me at 303-564-3248. HMW, how money works. Text that to me and I'll make sure that you get the registration. And then show up. Just don't sign up. Show up.
I love
Show
that.
up for
Yes,
10 minutes.
sign up. Oh,
Show up for a half an hour. Show up for the whole thing. And
yes.
you never can tell.
Sign up and show up. Marlena, we're gonna have to, sign up and show up. A whole other conversation. We'll save that for
Another
entrepreneurs.
time.
Yeah, we'll save that for some entrepreneurship training. But
Candy, thank you again so much for having this conversation with me, and for recording it, and for making it available. Here we go, access, so that other women know that women are real, and they're paying attention, and they're they're wanting to be of some help to how we feel, how they feel, may be the same thing as far as money is concerned.
Yes, yes, yes. So as we wrap up on today, we want to say thank you all for tuning in. This is Financial
Thank you.
Friday. Now, if you're watching this replay on a Monday, you get it, okay? But this is Financial Friday where I get the pleasure and the honor to interview different people in different walks of life, different industries. And on today, we were so blessed to interview Marelena Rose-Vigil from Denver, Colorado, who is a rock star realtor up there just knocking it out the park. Just happens to have in her arsenal, not just putting people in homes, but she's also a credit expert and she is a financial educator. And at the end of the day, she wants to make sure that her clients are first and that she is also
That's
empowering
it.
other women and and men too, empowering other women to have the same opportunities that she has been so blessed with. So if nothing else, Marlena, we're gonna call this a wrap.
Well, let me say one more thing.
Yes, ma'am, please close us out.
If there are men listening, if men took a piece of this, make sure that the women in your life are getting this information.
Share it.
Support them. Bring it to their attention. You register and make sure they sign up.
Yes.
You understand. There's might be certain things you don't understand. Get on with them. We're not excluding men, but be the support and maybe the lifeline to their access to financial education.
That is so important. Wow, just amazing. So please, guys, show us some love. All right. So
Thanks, everyone.
thank you.